Hey everyone, Seth Weiner here, your Rocktioneer. I know you're looking at me, you're saying, where's the fancy jacket? What's with the different background? Folks, I'm in sunny South Florida visiting my father is 86. That's right, 86 birthday. So I'm down here visiting him and still doing coffee connections. So not only is it a different location, but it's a totally different coffee connections today because we've got a different type of a guest. Now, normally it's insights from innovators in the nonprofit world, which is totally true. But normally we're talking to nonprofits. Today, folks, we have got a special guest for you because we're not talking to nonprofits. We're talking to nonprofits and we're sharing a super amazing, incredible tool that you're not going to be able to live without. And I really encourage you to tune in and get your friends to tune in after and share this because this is a great episode. So let me go ahead and tell you about today's guest. Are you ready? I hope so. Kyle Curry, who's the director of nonprofit sales from Windfall Data. Now, Kyle serves as the director of the nonprofit sales. He spent nearly a decade as a nonprofit profit professional before transitioning into selling to a nonprofit sector in 2015. He most recently serves as director of sales and business development at Firefly Partners, which is a boutique digital agency offering marketing and communication services to progressive nonprofits before joining the team at Windfall. Now, I'm going to have him tell you all about Windfall and more. And I got to tell you, folks, Windfall is a really interesting company, and I think you're really going to be impressed. So, ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the show, Kyle.
Seth, thanks for having me.
It's my pleasure, man. Welcome to the show. Thanks for joining me all the way from Chicago. Quick question before we get started. Do you drink coffee?
I do drink coffee, and I've got my mug here.
Oh, you got a
It'll
coffee
Show
mug. Let's
off
see
to
it.
you. It's one of my favorites. It says "Have a Willie nice day," and it's got Willie Nelson on it. It's from Gigi's Playhouse, a great nonprofit that's headquartered up here in Chicago.
Oh, wow. So I'm not even going to ask what you put in your coffee, but in Chicago, I hear it's legal.
So my dirty secret is, I don't know if this is allowed. I've had my coffee for today already, and I'll tell you. I'll just spend a minute telling you about it. So usually I drink my coffee, and I want to plug this company, Muttley and Jack. Best coffee I've ever drank. I do a monthly subscription to it. It's from Stockholm, and it's incredible. So
Hmm.
Muttley and Jack, check it out. I ran out today, so I had to do a Starbucks run. And here is a fun Starbucks hack. If you have those Starbucks points, those stars that you can gather,
Hmm.
the Cafe Mista is only 50 stars, but you can load it up with espresso shots and your pumpkin spice or apple or whatever kind of syrups you want. So it's basically just a latte, but you can get it for that 50 stars instead of the 150 stars that like a pumpkin spice latte would cost you. So that's your Starbucks hack for the day. But
All right. Well, coffee connections with coffee tips, but you know what?
you got it.
You really got the tips. Now, I've told everyone on the intro here, and I'm going to say it 100 times. What Windfall provides is so priceless, and it's for every organization, no matter how small or large you are. So I'm just going to hand the mic over to you. Can you tell everyone what the secret of Windfall is and who you are?
Yeah, absolutely. So, Windfall provides nonprofits products like wealth screening, propensity modeling, and kind of like you mentioned in my bio, I was a nonprofit professional for about a decade, so was really familiar with those kinds of tools previously. But Windfall's really changing the game on those tools, on wealth screening, on propensity modeling. And we're doing that because Windfall is a data company, unlike some of the other folks that are out there in the market. We own our own data set, and our data is specifically focused on the most affluent US households. So we define that as any household that has at least 1 million of net worth. And what we provide to our clients is a precise net worth figure. So we can screen your full database. We can let you know John Smith, who lives at 123 Main Street, has a precise net worth of $1.9 million, whereas Jane Johnson, who lives at 456 Hope Street, has a precise net worth of $46.9 million. And our clients are using that information in really, really innovative ways. So primarily prioritization. Once you've got all of that data in your database, ordering your database by wealthiest so you can figure out where do we focus our time here. And then finding hidden gems and segmenting based on that. So say you've had someone who's donated $50 to you once, or who's bought a ticket to your event, and you've sent them the typical thank you template letter. But you overlay Windfall's data and you realize, oh, this person's got a net worth of $50 million. They deserve more than just that template. They deserve really VIP stewardship, an invite to a site visit, a call from the board president. And then finally, engagement. So in addition to that precise net worth figure, we're also appending nearly 30 household attributes to our clients' data. Those attributes are things like someone's moved recently, or there's been a divorce, or political affiliation, or multiple property ownership, or association with a trust. So all of those different data points that can help a fundraiser know, is this the right time to reach out? How do I formulate a conversation with these folks once I do reach out to them? So that's kind of high level. Any questions from you, Seth, on that?
I mean, 1,242 questions, but I'll start with that you said that you own data sets. Where does Windfall get this data from?
Yeah, that's a really great question. It's the question that people typically have at this point. So our data is really from two main pillars. We think of our data from two main pillars: publicly available data and data partnerships. So as far as publicly available data, that's everything from SEC filings to real estate to plane and boat ownership. So all of those data points that are out there in the public space, bringing them into our data set, focusing specifically on that high net worth, that 1 million plus affluency, and doing things like netting out liability from those assets. So if someone has $1 million property, but an $800,000 mortgage on it, that doesn't necessarily make them a millionaire. So netting out that liability from the assets. So we're serving up a true net worth figure there. And then as far as data partnerships, one example, we partner with a company that does small business valuations. So someone owns a restaurant, a law office, a dentist office, a convenience store. And we've got that valuation data that can impact the calculation of that precise net worth figure as well.
All right, interesting. So when we look at this, I'm curious though, because there's other data companies out there. I'm just curious, what sets Windfall apart from these other data companies that are offering similar pulls?
Yeah. Well, the reason that our founders created Windfall was really as a response to some of those legacy data companies that are out there that have historically been basing their data set on survey and sensei data. Data that decays very, very quickly, and legacy companies really are updating their data, yearly. So Windfall is taking a really fresh approach to address that. We're rebuilding our data set every single week so that we're serving up the freshest data on the market.
Okay, and so then, as a nonprofit, they go ahead and they give you their information, and it's secure for them. Like you're not sharing that information with others. I'm just assuming that.
Yeah, that's correct. Yeah, we don't. We actually just received our SOC 2 Type 2 certification, which is the gold standard in data security and privacy. We take that very, very seriously. So yeah, not sharing that data.
And if an organization goes ahead and has a data dump with you all, and then they have their annual gala, and they sold 500 tickets, of which 300 are new people, never been in the database before. They did an online auction, and they got another 200 people. So they got 500 new folks. Do they have to? How's that work? Are they able to re-up on that?
That's a really great question. And I think a lot of people that are out there that might already be familiar with wealth screening know the type of old business model that other companies have used for years, which tends to be on a per record cost basis or a credit basis where you're buying a certain number of credits. Windfall is a true subscription model, which allows our clients to sign up for a 1 or 3 year contract with us. And during that contract, screen an unlimited number of records as frequently and often as they would like, which really has opened up wealth screening to all different departments of a nonprofit. Whereas previously it might be used by a larger nonprofit to look for major gifts, Windfall is used for major gifts, but people use it for annual funds. Event directors and event committees are using it because you can screen all of those records. You can screen people who registered for your events. You can screen people who are on your volunteer list. You can screen that $10 donation that came in. And really find those hidden gems just at that one subscription cost.
Now, how much info is needed in order to screen? Is it just an email? Is it just a name? Like, how do you know I'm worth $7 million.5 and 15 cents?
Yeah, it's a great question. So the more data, the better. Typically, first name, last name, mailing address allows a really solid match. But what's important is Windfall is not going to return back data that we're not confident. Seth in your system is the Seth in our system. If we're not confident, we're not going to return it back. A lot of companies out there kind of dump all of the coin toss. Maybe this is the right person. Maybe this is the right information. And we're really focused on only serving up the data that we're most confident
And when you go from sales to
in.
handing this over to one of your, well, it will go from sales to each organization is going to have a rep of the company, or how does that all work?
That's exactly right. Something else that sets us apart is really the white glove concierge service that all of our clients get. So they'll be partnered with a customer success manager. They'll have that person's contact information and can reach out directly to them. We've got 24-hour response times. So our customer success managers help with the onboarding, making sure that everything's getting set up correctly. If there is a CRM integration, like perhaps someone's using Salesforce or Neon or Bloomerang or Donor Perfect or Keela, and we've got an integration with them, our customer success manager will help make sure that integration is set up smooth route where they're doing a CSV upload to a secure portal. Our customer success manager helps understand how to pull those reports, how to upload that data back into their database as well, and helps with troubleshooting throughout the whole course of the subscription. But I think what's even more important is helping with best practices. So sharing use cases that other successful clients are using and have seen big impact with. So we've worked with over 700 nonprofits. If we hear of a great story of someone using our data in a really creative way, our customer success manager shares that along. Because
Mhm.
having that data is only as good as making it actionable.
Mhm. So let me ask you this, without mentioning an organization's name for their privacy, can you
Mhm.
give us an example of how a school or a small organization, such as a school, which, by the way, a school has, I don't know, new students every year, alumni students that maybe now are out there in the workforce and could give back. I mean, so schools are an interesting one, but can you just kind of give us a couple examples of maybe how schools could use this, and then how large nonprofits that we all know and see on billboards could use it?
Yeah. So we work with some of the biggest educational institutions and universities and colleges in the country that are using Windfall, all the way down to my Midwest parochial high school that I went to uses Windfall. So it really can span the gamut for different sizes of organization. And kind of like I was mentioning earlier, historically, well screening was so limited because of that per record cost. So a school might say, I'm going to screen our top 500 donors to get some additional insights about them. Well, you already know that they're your top 500 donors. With Windfall, because you can screen an unlimited number of records as frequently as you want, and we're rebuilding our database and capturing constant wealth creation and destruction events so that data is always fresh, organizations, schools, universities can screen all of their past donors, all of their future donors that are coming in, their event registrants, all of their alumni as well, parents that are signing up for lists, so they can really make a targeted plan so they can deploy the resources of their team as efficiently and effectively as possible.
All right. That makes a lot of sense. So you said something about showing interest earlier. What kind of interest are you able to show in this data, and how so?
Could you repeat the question? I
Yeah,
want
so like showing interest or to get other
to.
insights. I mean, are you able to see that someone was a board member of something, or they're an interest into, like, say, humanitarian projects versus
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Great question. So I did mention those windfall triggers, those additional data points that we include in addition to the precise net worth figure. And those data points are fantastic. One that we provide back is other philanthropic interests, and that is designated by NTEE code. So you'll be able to see your donors and see, okay, Kyle, he donated to us, but he also donates to environmental causes, he donates to health and human services, and he donates to education causes. So we have an understanding of the other kinds of places that Kyle donates. If we've got a program or if we've got an initiative or if we've got an event that aligns and crosses over to some of those things that we already know Kyle has interest in, we can target him and message him very specifically in that way. Another data point that I think is really interesting is small business ownership. As a former event director myself, I'm fascinated in that because great, now we know high net worth individuals that have and own small businesses. That is great for things like looking for in-kind donations to an event, looking for corporate sponsorships, looking for table purchases. So having that data trigger lets you those data triggers let you really slice and dice your data in very unique ways so you can reach out with different types of messaging to different people.
So if am I hearing you right that you're able to actually pull, so a school maybe pulls that information and can actually look at the parents and be like, oh, this is the businesses that we have that our parents have?
So it doesn't list out the businesses. These are more of yes no triggers for the most
Hmm.
part. So yes, this person owns a small business. Yes,
Got
this
it. Okay.
person is associated with a trust. That might indicate that they'd be a good person to have a conversation with about planned giving. This person, for example, we just brought on an aquarium client. They were really interested in the data trigger is a boat owner. That is a unique, specific type of messaging that they can segment out to that group of people.
Hmm. Wow, that's really, yeah, it's very lots of ways to use this. Now, as an auctioneer, how could fellow auctioneers use this? I mean, if, I mean, I could share my example of just being able to say, and we all say to our clients, that's great. We could go ahead and put all these things in the auction, but before we do, is there money in the room? So that's one way for sure. What are other ways other auctioneers can use this for our clients?
And Seth, you know this about me. I directed a nonprofit charity auction, celebrity autographs, for about a decade. I've got some autographed items here behind me still from those days. So auctions are really near and dear to my heart. And our auctioneers and our clients that are having benefit auctions are really finding a ton of impact with Windfall as an innovative new way of optimizing their event that they've never really had access to before. And in my opinion, there's three main ways to leverage Windfall around events, around auctions. First, pre-event. So kind of like you were saying there, there's a lot of things that you can do leading up to the event. You can screen your database and determine who should get personalized invites, not just the kind of like templated invites, something with a handwritten note. You can start thinking about your table sales and your table placements and where you're going to put your event committee and your board members to maximize who they're interacting with. You can think about your paddle race or your fund a need and try and get some pre-pledges. Maybe you want to say in the past you've kind of topped out at 10,000. That's where you start your fund to need. But this year you want to do 20,000. Reach out to some high net worth individuals. Get that pledge in place ahead of time. Think about who could maybe make a match pledge. Think about promoting auction items. So reaching out to your high net worth individuals. Hey, we're having an auction. What kind of things would you bid on? What kind of things would you like to see? You can do things like figure out who you want to ask to if they want to be on your guest list. Sometimes inviting the right people on your guest list can have a huge impact. Um,
Yeah.
so I think there's so many things, even just leading up to the night of the event, that you can do
Yeah, I want to circle back to that thought. I think that's a golden nugget right there
there.
of where are you sitting, folks? Where is your board members sitting? Are your board members all sitting at the same table? If so, Why would you do that? You're losing the opportunity because your board members are the most passionate people about your organization, or they should be,
Yeah.
and put them in with those high net worth individuals that have the greatest potential. And not to be sharks on them, but to be able to know who's in the room, and I think there's a lot of value there. Instead of
Yeah.
just throwing darts, in the air, you actually have a dartboard now.
Yeah, and for all of those event people that are out there, they know that the event isn't just about making money and getting big checks. It's also about education. It's also about
Hmm.
empowering evangelists. So knowing the people who are on your list that you want to empower with your talking points, that you want to make sure that they really understand the depth of the services and programs you provide and the impact it's having on the community, really gives you a targeted approach to building up the future generations of people that are going to be really, really passionate about your cause for years to come.
Yeah. Well, on that note, there's a lot of organizations that are grant giving organizations. They raise money to give money.
Yeah.
So being able to understand what your supporters are interested in could help shift and drive where you're going to give your money. So if it's, I mean, I don't have to give an example. It's pretty straightforward.
Yeah,
Um,
absolutely.
and I'm going to quickly just share our screen here. And I'm going to go ahead and pop that over there. So this here, and I'm going to go ahead and drop this in comments, this link here, for anyone that's in the comments can see this. There we go. And I'm going to add it to, I haven't done all this stuff, so it's getting fancy here. Here we go. I'm going to go ahead and show that. Boom, on the bottom, you can go to analytics.windfall.com/sign up for free wealth analytics. Talk about this page, and I'm going to scroll through it as you do.
Yeah, so we offer a free wealth analytics report for folks that are considering if wealth screening is going to be a good fit for them. You might be hearing this and think, this sounds good, but maybe I'm on the fence. I don't know if it's right for our organization. Maybe we're too small. Maybe we've tried other wealth screening, it hasn't really worked with us. So this is a great way to get a 30,000 foot view of the opportunity that's in your system today. It's a totally free process. What we'll do is we'll screen your entire database, all of your records, and we're going to return back a report that shows how many high net worth individuals we've found in your system, and some giving insights based on those people. So looking at people, for example, who maybe have a net worth of $1 to $2.5 million, what percentage of the donations in your system does that represent? What's the median gift of that group? How many people do you have in your system in that net worth range who have never given you $1? That'd be a true hidden gem in there. So this report really helps you understand, well, where are we at now? Could leveraging this type of data help us with our fundraising, help us with our events, help us with our marketing and communication? Could it help us move the needle on some of those big goals that I'm sure you all have for 2022 and beyond?
So if I heard you right, I heard that's free. You said free. You used the word
Yeah,
free. There's no
that
cost.
is correct. Free, free, free.
So,
So,
so basically, if you're an organization, again, as large as whoever or as small as whomever,
mhm.
you can go ahead and drop your data in there and get an idea of, again, like you got that school auction coming up, and you're just curious if there's money in the room for no cost. Drop your data just for the fun of it,
Yep.
and see who your parents are and what they're. And a lot of folks at schools, by the way, probably know the wealth of their parents because of
Yep.
the private schools especially. But again, who's coming to your event and what have you there.
Exactly. So what this report's going to show is it's going to show, hey, we screened 1,000 records from our database. 200 of them are high net worth individuals. That'd be incredible. It's not going to show, look, Seth Weiner's in there at 7.5 million. That's what you would get with a Windfall subscription. This report's just going to show you the size of the opportunity to help you understand, would this be valuable for your organization?
Hmm. That's great. Is there anything that we didn't cover that you wanted to circle back and share?
Well, I do. I've been bringing this up with organizations that I've been talking to. I think it's good for people to keep top of mind is that there's a lot of changes that are coming in the government coming down the road. One of the biggest ones that's going to have an immediate impact is that the CARES Act has a provision that's lapsing at the end of the year. It was instituted through COVID response, and it's allowing for 100% charitable tax deduction to nonprofit organizations through gifts made up till the end of the year. That's reverting back to 60% charitable tax deduction for 2022. So now is the time for nonprofits to understand who the high net worth individuals are, who are the people that really need to get the most bang for their buck as far as their tax deductions, and reach out to them now. Kind of time is of the essence here. So now's a really, really good time to get that insight into your system and really strategize who you're going to reach out to for the end of year this year. We've been hearing stories about people who had made a $75 gift that our nonprofits are reaching out to and getting $5,000 or $10,000 checks. Obviously, that's not a guarantee, but we hear those stories consistently. And it really, the ROI on a tool like Windfall is incalculable because it really does impact all of those different departments at a nonprofit.
Awesome. Well, thanks so much for your time. I really appreciate your insights here and sharing all about Windfall data. That's windfalldata.com. Visit if you're listening online or visiting online. Just, windfalldata.com. You can always connect with Kyle there. Yeah, before I let you go, Kyle, got to ask you a question. Now, this is different than most of our shows. I always end by having my guest invite another guest in because it's always nonprofit. So I'm going to do the same with you. So I guess it's not different. Is there a nonprofit in particular, maybe one in Atlanta, that you would like to invite to be a guest on Coffee Connections?
Yeah, absolutely. So, one of my favorite Windfall Atlanta nonprofits is the Captain Planet Foundation. I was
Oh,
obsessed with Captain Planet growing up. I watched it every single time that it aired. It made me a huge environmental junkie. And I love that they're still out there in the world helping the environment, fighting for climate causes. So, that's who I would suggest reaching out to. Love them.
awesome. Well, thanks so much. It's, interesting fact. Actually, when I was in the concert business, I want to say about 15 years ago, I actually ran their box office for their big gala. So that'd be kind of cool to have them back on. It's been a long time since I've talked to them. So I appreciate the intro there. Thanks so much for your time, folks. Again, windfalldata.com. My name is Seth Weiner. I am your auctioneer. We'll see you next time right here